So this is the Zoning Board of Appeals, Tuesday, July 7th, 2020, a virtual meeting via Zoom. It's now 7:35, and sitting as the Board of Appeals are myself, Woody Chidick, as chair, Peter Gertica as vice chair, Lee Darst, Matt Watkins, and Charlie Higginson. Quite possibly, we're getting a video but not audio on Charlie. So the first piece of board business is the dates of our upcoming two meetings, August 4th and September 8th. Does anybody have a known conflict or problem with those dates?
No.
I do not. Peter?
I will be here for the August meeting, and I am unlikely to be here for the September meeting. But if it's a Zoom meeting, I will most likely be able to attend via Zoom.
Okay. And I would say, but the next agenda item is update on plans for continued meetings. But my guess, Peter, is that we're going to be virtually meeting for the next couple of months, at least.
Right. Would you like me to give you a tiny update
Please,
on that?
please,
All right.
yeah.
All right. So as you know, yesterday was the rollout of Phase 3, Part 1. Based on all of the meetings we have townwide and with all the Board of Health, et cetera, that the phases in Phase 3 are going to be very slow as we open. So what the difference for meetings is that 25 people in a group are allowed to meet outside. Anything inside is 8 people per 1,000 square feet. So there's not going to be a lot allowed inside based on those figures. So I think our hearings and meetings have gone quite well, except for the blip today, but mostly our hearings, et cetera, have gone well. So, we'll continue until we know it's safe, or if we come up with a fancy way to meet outside and under a tent, but that will take, audio and visual, but we wouldn't have to broadcast. We could sit outside and do it, but there's no hurry until we know we're safe, in my opinion, but we'll see what the metrics are and the announcements from the government. Right now, we're under an order, so there's really not what we can do. A lot we can do.
Jen?
Peter?
Yes?
Jen, do we know how many square feet there are in the 2 rooms that we customarily meet in Town Hall?
I don't know the square footage. There wouldn't be a problem with the board probably meeting in a large space, say like Wilcott Commons. But we would still have to figure out, then you add in participants, you open it to the public, and we don't know who's coming, and that's where the rub is, because we can't estimate that.
Right.
And
so
we can't turn people away because they're, I assume, if it's a public hearing, they can't be turned away because we're fully allocated, fully allocated space, right?
Exactly, it's right. So the safest way now is to continue our meetings like this, and our attendance regarding the attendees has been equal, if not more, than what we've had in the public space, and so I think we're advertising and noticing exactly the same, and if we had something huge come up, we could always stream live on Facebook and be on TV. So there's other options if the board ever has a concern. Goodness, Charlie, what did you do to your head? You see?
Charlie, do you have audio? Can you hear us? Nod your head. Oh.
All right. So those are the updates on the meetings, and then as you know, we received requests for both applications to continue, and I'll go back to Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I think the first hearing is for the record, is 75 Border Street. The applicants, Paul and Jill Tedeschi, wish to build a rather lengthy dock over a marsh and need relief under Section 9 and 4.2. They've requested a continuance, I believe, because the Conservation Commission has a couple of issues, or at least some let's just say some issues with the proposal. So to meet on that original proposal while it's still in process would probably be a waste of time. So they've requested that we continue. I would make a motion that we continue this to our August 4th meeting.
And just a reminder, we'll need a roll call vote and full names, please, even on the second.
Okay. I've made the motion. Woody Chidick, aye.
I'll second the motion, Matt Watkins.
Okay. Lee?
All in, aye.
And Peter?
Yes.
Aye, Peter Gerdekin.
Charlie, can you hear me? We're not getting, all right, well, 4-0.
All right.
That's moved and continued to August 4th. The second hearing is for a special permit filed really on behalf of the clients, filed by Adam Brodsky, attorney, for the Cohasset Harbor Elm Street Realty LLC. They again are looking for relief under floodplain and watershed protection provision 9.6. They've got a mixed-use development project at 124 and 87 Elm Street for 29 multi-family residential units and other public access points, including a waterfront public park, shoreline access, a view corridor, and commercial spaces. However, the planning board is opening its first hearing on this proposal tomorrow night, Wednesday. And the applicants have requested, again, a continuance because they really don't know where the planning board will be focusing its attention and whether any of this has to do with floodplain and watershed or not. If it's a question of usage and things of that sort, that falls under the planning board's purview. So, Jen.
I answered to that, Joe. So just for way of, just to let you know, we do have some members of the public and a planning board member in the attendees. We have Janet Barker and Janet Fogarty just listening in, and Tom Callahan also listening in. We don't have any Q&As, which we wouldn't take honestly anyway because we're not open, but I just want to let you know, just reiterate that this is being continued at the request of the applicant for though, and I wanted to let the chairman know that we did have attendees here.
Okay. Would it be appropriate to hear from any of the attendees before we make a motion?
I wouldn't think so where the hearing is not open.
Okay. Well, I would, you know, this is obviously a very complex project. Our piece of it is relatively minor, to say the least. And I think it behooves us to let the planning board take the lead on this and see if any of it impacts the relief being sought or any other relief that may be necessary. So I would make a motion to continue the hearing on 124 and 87 Elm Street until August 4th. And in which case we'll be smarter about where the planning board is coming out on this. So moved.
Seconded.
Lee Dar seconds. Lee, just say your name so we have it.
Lee Dar second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor. Woody Chidick, aye.
Matt
Peter
Watkins,
Gerdekin.
aye.
Sorry, Matt, go for it.
Sorry. Matt Watkins, aye.
Peter.
Peter Gerdekin, aye.
Lee.
Lee Darst, aye.
Charlie, can you unmute? Or Lee, Jen, can you unmute Charlie?
Charlie, you're
There you go.
unmuted.
Okay, and aye. Charlie Higginson, aye.
Okay, could you follow what we were just talking about the last minute or two?
The last minute or two, yes. Before that, I was in trouble.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's relatively simple. We're going to continue this hearing to August 4th, and we'll be smarter, and as will the applicant, in terms of where the planning board is focusing its attention. Right now, we don't know. And planning board has the primary jurisdiction over this. So, okay, it's been moved, second, and voted to continue the hearing. The last piece is minutes approval of June 2nd. In our packet, Jen gave us a five-page set of draft minutes. I've got only 2 comments on it, and maybe others of you do as well.
I sent my comments to Jen. Jen, did you receive them?
I did receive them. I don't have them in front of me because I've been working remotely this week, but I do have them, so I will incorporate what you put in.
Okay.
Matt?
Yeah, I didn't really have any. I did look at it and I don't have any comments.
Lee?
I didn't have any comments. I emailed Jen earlier today.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and Charlie?
I have no comments.
Okay, I had 2, and some of this might have been picked up by Peter, I don't know. On page 2, under the 103 Black Rock Road, the little mini paragraph, second sentence, the applicant updated the site plan to include water fun-off mitigation. So I changed the fun to runoff.
Thank you.
Might be fun, but anyway, Jen, if you could get that. And underneath that one, again, if Peter might have already covered this, on 10 Jerusalem Road, second paragraph, Chairman Chittick, it reads, was surprised they were able to make it conform. I'm not sure about my words. I know I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm wondering if we could change the surprise to pleased. Chairman
Absolutely.
Chittick was pleased they were able to make it conform.
Absolutely.
Surprised means, well, I don't know. I mean, anyway, I was pleasantly surprised. But I'll leave it up to the board and Jen to chime in on that one. I don't think it really affects the minutes, but I think pleased reflects my thinking a lot more than a simple surprise.
No, you were definitely pleased that they were able to do it. So I will make that change.
Other than that, I saw nothing.
I too had the fun off changed to runoff. I had in the first paragraph under continued hearings, I had there were no questions that said it was.
Oh,
I chose not to comment on whether or not you were surprised or pleased. I figured you could do that. On page 4 at the top, I said I thought it was the house is compatible with the neighborhood. And I believe that was the extent of my comments. So not much to change from our points of view.
okay. Good catches.
Yes.
Anybody else?
I move we accept the minutes as amended.
Well, somebody want a second?
I second.
Lee
Lee
seconds.
Darst seconds.
Okay, so Woody Chidick, aye.
Lee
Charlie
Darst,
Higginson,
aye.
aye.
Okay, Charlie, Peter.
Matt, sorry, Peter,
Matt?
Gertica, aye.
Okay, Matt.
I didn't want to jump on top of Matt again.
I know. He's
Matt
used to it.
Watkins, aye.
Okay, so the minute, the minutes with those edits have been accepted. So that's it. This is obviously a world record, not just a town record for zoning board meetings.
Absolutely.
Would you like to entertain a motion for adjournment, Woody?
Absolutely. I thought you'd never ask.
I, Peter Gertica, move that we adjourn.
It's Charlie. You give us a second on that one.
Charlie Higginson, seconds.
All right. Go ahead, Matt. You get to lead this one.
All right, Matt Watkins, aye.
Lee,
Lee Darst, aye.
Charlie,
Charlie Higginson, aye.
Peter,
Peter Gertica, aye.
Woody Chidick, aye. So that
Thank you,
concludes.
So who's making cocktails? Because now we can have a virtual cocktail party.
Boy, time for
I
2.
did. Time for 2. Thank you guys so much. I'll be in touch.
Okay,
Take care.
thanks.
Thank you.
Good night,
Good
Good
night.
night, all.
everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for
Good night.
showing up.